And now I got to re-grab my camera. Oh, we're so glad you came here, Lulu. Though it was like Lulu was here. We were really shifting into fun chat, and then all of a sudden it was gone. And that's like I killed it, killed the momentum.
Yeah.
Okay, there's me. Okay, so I need to.
And Ox, you're going to get into a lot of trouble for suggesting that you should wash your food with Tide Pods and eat the Tide Pods to kill the virus. No, we tried that once before, and look at the trouble it caused.
No. You want to put the Tide Pods on a pizza as a pizza topping is what you do.
Yeah. And some people are stupid enough to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what you call natural selection. Isn't that called natural selection?
I hope.
Anyway, so Lulu,
a lot of people that need to do it.
You moved the futon, you threw out your back, and now is the back getting better today, or?
Yeah, I finally.
Well, that's
I
good.
finally found a spot where I slept for a good 3 hours.
Like on the floor. Nice
hard.
hard.
No, on
nice
my
hard
futon
floor.
that's up in a couch.
So you sat on the thing that broke. You slept on the thing that broke your back.
Yes.
So it broke your back and then it healed your back. So now you're even.
Yeah, I'm even with it.
Because
it felt bad for her.
Because that's totally how it works. If you.
Yes, that is how it works. Because the bastard better pay me back for a broken back.
Yes. Oh man, now we got to figure out if Brian gave up on us or what. I didn't think he was going to give up on us.
Damn, I threw out my back once at work in a trucking company, and the bastard still made me go to work.
Of course,
I couldn't even lift more. I couldn't lift more than 15 pounds. I said my back is out. I can't do this. Well, you got to. A lot of convincing to get the people for the delivery to pick up their shit. You pick this up, it's yours. I can't. My back hurts. Don't got managing on me. You want it, gotta go get it.
All right. You know what? Maybe we need to call Brian on the Skypes. Possibly. We might just have to do that. Huh.
Fucking bastard. Actually, you made me do that when I shredded up my hand, too. I'm bleeding and everything else.
Skype, I hate you sometimes.
I hate Skype all the time.
No, I mean Twitch.
Oh,
Twitch, I hate you sometimes.
Yeah.
Bleeding all over the place, and the bastard still made me go to work.
See if this we'll try it on Skype first before we ring his phone, because as we found out, phone limit now I gotta call his phone. We just won't burn the minutes too much.
Oh, so my coffee came in.
Cool.
My coffee probably not probably.
You're all set with the that's good, because that was
Brian Lee.
Uh-oh.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, yo, the computer crashed, but it's back up. It's back up. It's back up. Come on back in. It was just a...
Yes, it doesn't give you the option to disappear.
Uh-huh. All right. Hopefully they get the message. Maybe you want grocery shopping. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lulu.
So it took me a month a month to get this coffee.
Hello, Chicago.
Hello, Chicago.
Sorry, I had to ignore your calls because the guy that I meet with on Zoom,
Yeah.
he was having some technical issues
Oh.
because he was moving from his phone to his computer and trying to figure out how to make it go. Because he just got a new camera, and he goes, okay, how do I set up schedule a new meeting and blah blah blah. I says, and it doesn't have all the contact information. Like, well, just set it up on your phone, and then connect on your computer to make it go. Holy mackerel, you can do that?
Yeah, computers can do that.
Yeah, and you're logged into the same account.
Wait. Why did the Lulu cam disappear like that, though? Oh, I gotta fix my.
Wave, Lulu.
No, I got to. I had to fix the Lulu cam that was sending it. That window broke when I played with some things, so now I have to focus the Lulu cam properly. There we go. We're
Lulu,
all
you
back.
look so sad.
We're all back. We're back.
I am sad.
But you got your
I know your
coffee.
back is
Right.
hurting.
I might have gotten my coffee, but it took a month, and they had to repackage it because apparently one broke. Apparently.
And Brian, what are you up there doing work calls for in the middle of your, volunteer radio work?
Well, no, that was
I
a
got
work
this
call.
kind of
That
coffee.
Pastello.
Hey. Does
I
it
got
have the
this
cat poop in it?
No, it does not have the cat poop,
Oh,
but it's freeze-dried coffee, Colombian coffee. There's no other additives to it.
s-
And I had bought 3 of
Sweet.
these,
speaking of,
And-
go ahead. I'm sorry.
and I only got 2. And so I'm a bit sad because I waited a month, and
Damn.
apparently one broke, and
Aw.
it was in miscellaneous packaging.
So it was crappy packaging?
Crappy packaging.
Right.
You can tell it was the same box, but one side had been opened because it was double taped, and then they put a label on it.
So, speaking of cat poop, what does it mean if a cat leaves a ooh? What does it mean if a cat leaves a turd for you right at the middle of the top step of your stairs? Does that
That mean
That's love.
is that love
that is
or is
that
that?
is not love.
That's, I was not feeling very loved at that moment. I mean, sure, it was a present for me that my cat made all by herself. Step one,
Did
figure
you
out
know
which
which one
cat.
it was?
I have a good idea which one it was, but I'm not completely sure.
Usually that's some kind of a statement, like clean the litter box, or I want my own litter box.
But it was.
Or...
But it wasn't in. Well, they have 3 litter boxes, which is the proper number of litter boxes for 2 cats, n plus 1. They all have their habits of which boxes they like to go to, and it wasn't left outside in front of the litter box. It was left at the top of the stairs, which is, a ways from a litter box.
It's called fuck you, you bastard. You didn't wake up soon enough to feed me.
Yeah, well,
Could be that.
Shantico does like company at the food bowl because we leave the dry food out for them to, graze and feed themselves as they wish. And this is not enough for Shantico. But she needs someone to sit with her to eat her dry food. And so she will start meowing at Kristen early in the morning to try to get her to wake up and to come out into the hallway and sit down with her so she could eat a little bit. Although a few mornings ago she left a nice pile of puke on top of the dry food, which it's like, dude, you just we don't eat that. We don't care if you puke on that. You're just messing up your food.
But that's in a different message. I don't like this crap.
Well,
Yeah, really.
we got a lot of it left, and that's what we've been buying for over a year now, and they've not complained up to this point.
Well, maybe they get bored with it.
I don't know. Anyways,
It is hard to tell.
so did you know
So
that?
Venison, no, that wasn't a work technical support call. That was my men's group guy that's doing Zoom.
That was a good deed to a friend.
Yes. Yes.
So Brian,
Good excuse.
you know that SCUBA is an acronym for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's all caps.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, did you also know that TUBA is also an acronym?
Which is why it's all caps.
Yes, and TUBA also being an acronym for terrible underwater breathing apparatus.
That's I never knew what it meant, but that makes sense.
So, and let me tell you
yes,
that
it's not a very good snorkel.
no, and it
Big topic change.
it checks out. It is absolutely a terrible underwater breathing apparatus.
Did you try it?
Not with a tuba. Let me tell you.
Will the tuba fit in a bathtub so you can actually?
No, but a mellophone will. And if you soak a mellophone in the bathtub for long enough, it'll take that finish right off of it. I followed the instructions that the music instructor told me to follow. He said soak it in lukewarm water with dish detergent for a half hour with all the slides taken out and to soak and get that, awfulness
So
out
the
from
finish
it.
went off with it.
Yeah, it peeled off like clear plastic wrap, and it.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, what the?
And now the plating will tarnish.
Probably by now it probably looks like all hell's broke loose, but it looked fine for the rest of the year.
Dune has tried to call and there's no Skype.
Well, Dune tried to call when the computer crash happened, I think.
Right. And the NHB Live tried calling me, but I wouldn't answer because I'm an asshole.
Let's
No comment.
let's
There he
Dune
is.
We're gonna.
asked for TT info, no Johnny response. Can you do a private message?
It's the same team
Oh, I can
talk.
whisper.
It's the same team.
I can whisper.
Hello.
I
Hello.
don't have it on my iPad, Slick.
What's that?
I don't have Team Talk. I don't have the address for my iPad.
Oh, well, it's the same address as. Anyways.
Okay, listen.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I don't know. Maybe you
Dude,
were around,
I'm
like,
giving it to
memorizing
you in a
shit like
whisper.
this.
Hold on.
It's johnnygators.servebeer.com. That's
Don't give it out to everyone, you dick weasel.
you got to have the password though. The password is password.
Nobody would ever guess that.
I was
Ever.
going to go with Dick Face first.
johnnygators.dickface.com is the address of the Team Talk server. But we got you on Skype here, so what's up, Dune?
Oh, I forgot now. I think I was just. I was really shocked to hear that Lulu's injury wasn't from TFing. I was kind of hurt. I thought, damn. I thought that'd have been an awesome story. I thought, man, that's some good TFing.
That was some good TFing if you
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. She just doesn't know. She just no.
I've been
Even-
sexually indeclined because of this
Even-
coronavirus bullshit.
Even on the futon. By the way, those things are evil. I will, because it's not the futon itself. It's the mattress part of the futon. 12 people could not carry one of those things.
I got this futon
like-
up here, no problem.
It's like trying to carry dough.
Well, yeah, it is.
Dude, my sister's boyfriend and I are able to carry my futon.
Well, you're good at it then, because I mean, it's like, boy,
Well, I got this up the
Now, do you
stairs.
do the frame and the mattress ever separately?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be the way to do it.
See, the reason this mattress is so good at staying stationary on the futon, Velcro.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just slides down, or it slides this way, or it's just kind of,
No,
you know.
Although
Velcro.
they're not as
And
quiet
before
as
you know it,
as
you're
a
laying on the
sleeper
floor.
sofa.
Yeah. Anyways, now this futon, and this futon just fits into my car. Yeah, I had to move the seat up all the way, and yeah, I had the steering wheel embedded into the front of me, which made it real fun to drive through Boston. But I got home, didn't I?
Ox says, I don't know anything about futon mattresses, but I have had to move a regular mattress by myself. Not fun. I carried a regular mattress on my head and back to
What
a
size?
dumpster.
What size mattress?
It was a full.
Well, we have
Full size. Okay.
we have a queen bed, and the mattress we can get upstairs without much problem because mattresses are bendable, which is the struggle, but also the flexibility that allows you to get or through those corners. The problem
is your average mattress doesn't have a handle.
Right.
Would it be that tough to put a handle on the mattress?
I think ours has a handle. You know, they put like a
Really?
like
Then
a,
you
yeah.
got a really expensive one.
I don't know.
Yeah, mine didn't.
But see,
Not a good handle, but it's a handle.
It's when they start adding plush to it, like those pillow plush and shit. That's when it starts getting really heavy.
Yeah. Well,
when people say,
memory
"Oh, well,
foam
I can't,"
is actually heavy.
our problem was the box spring, which I don't know if it doesn't have springs in it. Is it still a box spring?
Sorry, little Johnny's stuck in a well. I guess.
Well, we had this bed that uses basically a plastic box.
Here,
And then there were 4
It's
sections,
all good.
and you had to slide these little locks into place, so it's
Right.
queen size.
Yeah. Well, our box spring is basically a wooden frame and a slab of corrugated board on the top. And so when we moved into the apartment, the apartment we lived in before this house, we were on the second floor, and it was, an indoor stairwell. Now, our apartment in California was second floor, but it was an outside stairwell. So, we could get the box spring up the stairs, no problem, then just, right in the door. But this tight stairwell inside the house that we were on the second floor of just would not fit this box spring. And, I angled it this way, we angled it that way. And so I was like, oh my, how are we going to get, because I'm looking and I'm like, the only thing I could come up with is taking the window out of the window frame and rigging up some kind of a pulley system and pulling it up that way and then sliding it in the window. But I wasn't seriously thinking of doing that. I was just thinking that's the only logistical way this would work. So then plan B was, what do I always do when I don't know what to do and I need to figure out how to do something? I Google it. So I Googled, how do I get a box spring up the stairs? And Google told me, saw it in half. And I figured, what do I have to lose? So yeah, it was just a wooden frame with a piece of cardboard. So I just sawed through the wooden posts and got it so I could fold it in half. Went right up the stairs. We ran out to the hardware store, bought a thing of wood screws and a piece of wood, and cut it up to make braces to screw it back in, and that's still what we're using. It's held.
And you're golden.
Yeah. And then
so
when we
you know
moved
what
out,
the best way to move a mattress between one place and another?
What's that?
So you get a 4-door sedan, you throw the mattress on top,
Right.
and you have a guy in each seat that holds the mattress down.
I'm using my arm.
And I saw a bunch of guys doing it. There were 4 guys in the car. They were doing that.
This is every guy's dream because we all think we're fucking Superman, and this is our
and I was going,
opportunity to prove it.
Please, don't get on the highway that way.
I remember.
Do you know?
Go ahead, Lulu.
No, it's in greater when you try to use. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Do you know how many times that's happened in my life where it's just pieces of plywood, boards, planks, 2x4s, mattresses. They've taken a couch like that, a recliner, because we wouldn't have like a truck available
and just with
yeah.
the roof of the car.
And it just went to the roof of the car, and they're just tying it down with rope and holding on to the rope or holding on to the object. And they put out little flags, and they're just driving down like McKee or something.
Well, if you're gonna move a chair, there's always the Mr. Bean method. Put the chair up on the roof of the car, rig up like a broom handle to and rope, and sit in the chair on the roof and operate the car from there.
Oh, that's awesome. So when I first moved from Connecticut to Colorado, I had the Chevy Vega. And it had a roof rack. I added a roof rack.
Right.
And so I had all my stuff on the top, and some in the trunk, some in the back seat, et cetera, et cetera. And on the way to Denver, I was going through Chicago, and my mom wanted me to bring this rocking chair to my aunt's place. So for about 2/3 of the distance, there was a rocking chair on the top.
Nice.
Like the National Lampoon Was It Vacation, where they have a grandma strapped to the top of the car.
Dead grandma strapped to the top of the car. Yeah.
So it was just like that, except there was no grandma. She was our...
Just like that without grandma.
Yeah, dude, you talk about you having memories. Imagine a mattress that's 40 years old, and it's already got some holes in it, springs popping out. It's broken.
More wounds.
Yeah, really. It's straw. It's coming out of it.
How many wet spots on that mattress?
Yeah, and
blood, fecal matter, piss.
Yeah, and it was so bad. I got another. Corners. I bought another mattress. They delivered it. They said they would take away the old mattress. They took one look at it and said, "No way, we're not."
Oh man! Even the guy's taking it away.
Leave it on the front yard. We'll be right back for it. Come back with a can of gasoline in the match.
Yeah, I had to carry the mattress down from the bedroom, down the stairs, out the front door. Dropping straw all the way.
This is the same mattress that is the reason why your posters stick to the wall without any tape.
First off, how old is a mattress if it's dropping out straw? That's the first thing. What is that, 1908? Haven't they heard of cotton?
Yeah, is that one that survived the Spanish flu?
Come to think of it, that mattress I've had ever since I was a little kid. Wow.
What is that, 1856 medicine?
Pretty close.
OX right again. My favorite is a riding mower hanging out the trunk of a vehicle.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Pillows leaking chicken feathers.
Right.
So
I had a pillow.
Did you ever sleep without a mattress at all?
I have.
What?
I mean, you go camping and you're sleeping on the ground. I have slept where there was no mattress or whatever, and in the tent that was just on rock. That's kind of bad. Ooh. But probably the worst, I was out hitchhiking with a friend of mine. We went out late one night, and we were planning on sleeping outside. But it was raining lightly. We found a construction site, and we slept the night in a payloader. In other words, just sleeping on bare steel. That was rough.
Yeah.
Okay, you're weird.
When my family and I were homeless back in 2007, 2008, we slept in the back of our van. My sister and I had the back of the van, the floor.
Oh.
So we put down blankets and we slept back in the back of the van for like 2 weeks.
That'd be rough. Yeah.
I've also gone camping where I've slept on the ground.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not like one of these pussyfoot hipster people that need to bring a fucking rolling mat or a cot or
well,
How about a sleeping bag?
Well, when we were camping, we always had a sleeping bag, but they always taught us to have. You had a sleeping bag, but then you also had a foam rubber type mat that you'd roll up and strap to your backpack, and a space blanket, they always called it, which was like kind of like a tarp type thing that was reflective on one side, reflect the heat back up. And this was with the thought of sleeping in the cold weather. So your sleeping bag, and you have a foam mat for insulation, and your space blanket to insulate and heat. But you still
how good in your remembrance? How good was that space blanket? Because they still sell those.
I had a few of those.
Well, I mean, I it's hard to say because I didn't sleep on the space blanket alone. It was a package deal. But I'll say I slept comfortably between my sleeping bag, the space blanket, and the foam mat. And then you always used, you had your clothes in Ziploc bags, and you would use tomorrow's clothes as your pillow. So that way your clothes would be warm in the morning.
And dry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now, have you guys ever had this experience with camping? My Y group and we decided to go camping for one night at Alaire State Park. Johnny, you might know where that is. It rained the day before, a lot, and a lot of trails we were going to go on, were underwater. So we said, well, the hell with that. So, did the things that campers do doing, when they can't go nowhere. And then at night, it started thunderstorming. So you had a thunderstorm now in your tent, in a sleeping bag, scared shitless. And, the counselor gives up and says, that's it. We're calling for extraction. And they were about an hour and a half away.
Ooh.
But first of all, we had to draw straws or draw lots to see who would go half a mile down the road to the phone to call somebody to come get us during a lightning storm.
Dude.
Right. Here, hold this flagpole.
See,
and then it did get bad though, to a point where one of the guys' sleeping bag and tent were washed out of the tent.
Oh.
You just floated right out the tent.
That's not good. I will say
I was camping with.
We're going home.
I was camping with Boy Scouts in the rain, and we would make a trench around the tent in hopes that the water would flow away, and that didn't really work that well.
we had pretty good luck. Our tents were pretty newish, so they were still, repel rainwater, and we never got washed out. I think, I guess I lucked out with the weather on my. What I hated was the backpacking trips that you'd had to hike into the campsite. That was no fun.
Yeah.
I mean, whose idea of a good time is let's strap a bunch of weight on your back and walk 6 miles with that. Whoever came up with that idea of a good time to go out in the middle of nowhere and be someplace in a tent, fuck that dude.
Did you ever do canoe camping?
No, I've done.
So you load up the stuff in a canoe. It's not on your back.
Yeah.
And you paddle around for 20 miles or so. Okay, that's enough. You find a spot and hook up. That's great. The Adirondacks has a lot of lakes that are really good for that.
I've done just canoeing.
The tigers and bears. Oh my!
One day, one-way trip with a canoe, and that was that. And I've done with whitewater rafting. That was fun.
Yeah.
I did that twice actually. But backpacking was the worst. The worst was there was a backpacking trip that we were going to do for 3 legs of hiking. Like, so day 1 was hike 6 miles, set up camp. Now here's the thing: is that there was 2 campsites and 3 hikes, and so they drove all the cars out to the second campsite, and then they all drove back in one car to the starting point. So we'd all hike out to campsite 1. So we do 6 miles of hiking, set up camp, and I'm like, oh my god, that was awful. And we gotta do 7 miles tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna make it. And of course, my dad decided to come on this trip with me. So I'm stuck with him in the middle of nowhere, and people that hate me and lift me up on flagpoles. And not that they did that on this trip. I'm surrounded by people that hate me and my dad, and I'm not sure he might be among that group of people that hate me at this point. But
why did you even go?
Well, yeah, I don't, because I was in the Boy Scouts, so it was just I was trying to get out of the Boy Scouts at this point, and it took some convincing to get out of it. Well, my parents wanted to encourage me to socialize more, so they wanted me to keep with the Boy Scouts, and I was still on the fence about this, and I think this was one of the defining moments that made me decide, I fucking hate this, and I never want to do this again. So after day 1, I'm like, I can't do this again. My dad's like, the cars are 7 miles away. You've got to walk another 7 miles tomorrow. There's no negotiation. I'm like, you go walk 7 miles and bring a car back here. I'll wait. My dad's like, no, we can't. There's no roads to this campsite. I'm like, make a road. So
yeah, didn't you bring a chainsaw?
So somehow
you should have grabbed some sticks and made walking sticks to help, move your ass along.
So day 2, I made it the 7 miles to the next campsite. That's where the cars were, and so we set up camp for that night. And then the next day, I was like, we got to do how long to the last site? 10 miles. I'm like, all right, so 10 miles, but the cars are here. We're going to drive the cars out 10 miles, catch a car back here so we could all hike to the... I'm like, dude, car is here. Let's get in the car and go home. My dad's like, are you sure you want to... I'm like, let's get in the... And then there's other people that are like, I hurt my leg, and so all of a sudden this talk goes around of, is there a group of people that can leave early? And I'm like, yes, we're that group over here. You get a ride with us. And so we left early instead of walking the 10 miles the last day. And I think that was my last backpacking trip. God, I hated that. That was not a fun trip. Backpacking is the worst. Well, the thing is, with a camping trip, at least they would bring, like, the stoves and the pots and a bunch of food. When you were backpacking, your meals were whatever would fit on your back. So the meals were light and skimpy and not delicious. And the campsites were minimal of activity. I mean, it was just a group of boys that hated me in the middle of the woods. Why would I voluntarily do this?
Why are you in a Boy Scout troop where everybody hates you?
Because everywhere I went, people hated me. This is why I quit eventually.
Even the dogs hate you.
Yeah, I know.
Our dogs are fucking piss ants.
I was not good at making friends.
We can't imagine that.
No, not at all.
Okay, Brian. Yeah, I got a real itch on my face here.
Yeah, yelling and screaming at me just because of the post I made or retweeted.
Which one was that?
The dude had to have, some kind of metal band surgically removed from his penis.
What? No! No!
What?
No!
You had something surgically removed
No, he
from your
tweeted
penis?
some kind of a picture of something
Not
disgusting.
me. That's what that was. You know, they actually bring out some bolt cutters and cut the thing off.
No.
It must have been some big ass Prince Albert or like lightning.
No, it's just a band over the rear end of the penis.
Oh, is it that one kind of thing that guy was slipping on and off his genitalia with soap, being all pleased that it's all big and voluptuous and rigidy?
I refuse. No.
It looks like a gooey duck.
No.
You want a picture of a gooey duck?
No.
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 I'll show you a picture of a gooey duck.
No. Hell no. No. I refuse.
That's a good one.
No.
I put the link in the chat window on Twitter.
No. No. How many times we gotta say no?
No.
He got grossed out.
Hell no. I refuse. No.
Okay, enough of this.
That and that. Oh, my name comes up pink now. I'm happy.
Yay!
And that's what a gooey duck is, people. You know you wanna.
So, anyways, now Brian, what was your reasoning behind ending up camping and sleeping in a tent? Was this Boy Scouts or family?
Well, initially, when I was small, it was family camping.
Oh, your family would.
Family camping.
Was
Yeah,
this?
I mean, my
missing a
dad
brother?
loved to tell the story. Now, I have an identical twin brother.
Right.
We were very little when we started.
He looks like
And
you
my
with a
dad
mustache.
would like to say,
Yeah.
the whole embarrassment thing. Kind of goes, yeah, we would go company. We would bring 2 potty chairs. So we were that small. We weren't potty trained yet.
Oh, okay. So
to me,
So-
was I ever embarrassed by that? No. There's all kinds of
So
shit that my
you
dad would
guys
say.
weren't taught to shit in 2 different bushes?
they shit in the woods. They just did it on a potty chair.
Right.
You know what equals out to a potty chair? A 5-gallon bucket with a spring noodle.
Spring noodle?
Yes.
No.
Oh, a noodle like the foam
Yeah,
thingy.
spring noodle.
Okay. Where did the
Okay.
noodle come in?
Although I think a 5-gallon bucket is too.
Well,
So you might have
Do
to cut
I
it
have
down.
to show you guys the video on how to make when shit hits the fan? Goddamn.
Oh, is this to cover the rim of the bucket
Some-
so it's comfortable to sit on?
Yes.
I thought you could just squat over the bucket and be fine. I was not thinking that far ahead.
Well,
Okay.
you can actually get a special lid that's
Yeah, you
designed
can
to
also
sit
get a
on
special
and
lid.
do your business.
You just buy a toilet seat from the hardware store, put it on a bucket. I mean, that's or you
Well,
could.
they have a special toilet seat for the 5-gallon bucket.
Oh, there's always the
I mean, it's a
Sloan
standard
shit bag.
size.
Sparky Toaster wrote in, "Hey Johnny, hey." Oh, and no, that was not Dune's dogs. That was Lulu's dogs.
My dogs are special. They bark at basically
Nothing?
dust.
Oh, dust.
They bark at dust.
Okay.
Well, most campsites have a source of water, so if you get the garden hose and the bidet toilet seat, you could put
fucking
that
love
on
of Christ, you and your goddamn bidet.
I'm just
You
saying.
understand? You don't have
Just
a toilet
because
paper
you're
crisis.
camping doesn't mean you can't use a bidet.
You want to know what else you could
but
use?
that hose is only cold water.
Well, we all have our sacrifices to make. If you run the hose, if you get a long enough hose and leave a long stretch of it out in the sun, that might warm it up a bit.
Yeah, but in the middle of the night, that'll be cold again. So if you got to go then.
Well, make sure you shit when the sun's out.
There you go. That's it.
Oh, dude, when I was in Death Valley and we were camping there for high school, I was part of a camping trip for high school. I must have gotten food poisoning from the little restaurant that was there at the resort.
Was it coming out of both ends?
No, it wasn't coming out of both ends, but it was sure coming out one end. I had to like rush out of my tent, and like the coyotes were fucking following me over to the bathroom, and I let loose. Like something bad happened. It was like the end of the toilet that I was sitting on, and then I got up and was walking back, and the coyotes were like staying back even further, but they were like going tee 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 tee, you know, chuckling and shit. And I would stop and look at them, and they would just like bow down and look at me, and I'm like, yeah, that's right, motherfuckers, you stay back.
You don't want any of that.
I wish I could find that picture.
Oh, I know. I wish I could have taken a picture of this.
Oh no, I was thinking about the toilet. Picture of a toilet blown up, porcelain everywhere, and shit everywhere.
No, I don't want to take a picture of the toilet. I wanted to take pictures of like all these fucking coyotes chasing my ass back to the fucking campground.
Ugh, no, you don't want to stop for pictures.
Oh,
of
I
that.
can tell you about that. Because, you know, with the reason why I stopped going camping was we went camping somewhere up in Warren, in the woods, and we camped there, and everything was all right until early in the morning. We heard something rummaging through stuff. You know, some creature was in there making noise and making tracks, and none of us would look out to see what it was. Because
Dude,
remember there are bears up there still.
I necessarily don't really need to go camping anywhere because I can just pitch a tent in my front yard, and I'm surrounded by fucking wilderness.
Well,
like I'll get the foxes, I'll get the coyotes.
Gothard had a story because Gothard was in a Boy Scout troop when he was of that age. And, you know, he grew up in Maine. His parents own a chunk of property that their house is on. And so, basically, one of their camping trips was in Gothard's backyard because there was plenty of, you know, land to camp on there. And so the troop came out there. They set up tents. Blizzard came through. It got dropped way below zero. And the next morning, Gothard got up, bundled up, and said, well, you all have fun. I'm going to go warm up in my kitchen. And he's like, I felt a little bad about that he was able to just go home, and they were all still stuck camping out in the, I don't know, maybe he invited them in. But I know he pretty much was like, yeah, I was done. I was like, yeah, I'm going inside. Then again, he probably had to light a fire once he got inside, though, because their house was heated by wood burning furnace in the basement.
But at least you're inside.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Oh.
So you could. Yeah, because I mean, you put a fire outside. If it's snowing or raining, that won't work too good.
No, and Gothard's dad could tell
and
you
if
all.
It's windy, that doesn't work good either.
And Gothard's dad will tell you all about wood. There's
Why didn't they build a fucking igloo or an enclosure? Was the snow deep enough?
I don't know. That's Gothard's story. We'll have to ask him one of these days. Maybe we'll call him next week. Ask him about winter camping.
Call him.
I don't. Do I have his number up on the Skype right now? Well, no, but we're at the end of the show right now. We'll call him next week.
No,
Winter
that's what I
camping?
mean. Next week.
We will call him
Call
next
him.
week. Yeah, we'll get him in. You know what?
I want to know if he built an igloo.
Every time I talk to him lately, about every other time I talk to him, he's like, "You still doing the show on Mondays?" I'm like, "Yeah, stop by this Monday." "Yeah, I'll have to do that." And then he never shows. But I think he's, well, the latest news is that he finally unpacked his records and set them all up in the shelves in the basement. And so he's like, "Okay, good. I can finally do some music listening." And Mike works at a hospital. And there was some exposure to coronavirus there. And so Mike came home and said, "Well, I got to isolate myself in the basement where your records are."
Where the records are.
Where the records are. So yeah.
It's like that
So
son
how long
of a
has he
bitch.
been in isolation?
I think that story was a few weeks ago, but then again, he's still working at the hospital, so he might just be Mike just might be living in the basement for the next month. I don't know.
Right. Okay, so he's going to isolate anyway, whether he has the virus or not.
I'm not sure. You know what? I need to. Seth and I mostly communicate with animated GIFs. I need to ask him for an update the next time I get an animated GIF from him.
He doesn't come on to your other shows?
No. Gothard and I typically just send messages through Messenger. 3/4 of them are animated GIFs and videos and things like that.
So what is he actually doing? Is he doing anything?
Well, no. He was trying to. He went to school for body massage. But he learned.
You say that like so silently, like about body massage.
Well, I'm trying to think of the right term, but all that comes to mind is the G.I. Joe clip with the guys like body massage. But
he's a masseuse.
A masseuse, yes. Massage therapy. That's what I was looking for. Therapy. He went and took classes of massage therapy, and he was starting up.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Lulu thanks you.
Over in the other room.
Lulu thanks you. And he was starting up that business in Vermont, but then Mike got the job in Maine, and they moved to Maine, and now this all happened. So he hasn't really started up any massage therapy business in Maine yet. So he's just kind of chilling, waiting for this to pass.
Wait, how long has he been in Maine?
Earlier in the
I
year.
thought it was several months.
It's been several months, but this was, well, there's other things that were going on earlier in the year.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't need to go into the details. But anyways, we do try to be educational here. And I think we've all learned a lot this show. We've been through a spiritual journey these past 2 hours, haven't we?
A spiritual
That's
journey?
Right. I don't know.
There's the part that Lulu completely missed.
I'm trying to think of new ways to do this every week, and I fail.
A spiritual journey.
A spiritual journey through the land of GW Basic and mattresses and titty fucking.
God, I am so glad that I missed all that. I'd be a raving fucking maniac sitting in this goddamn chair with my back hurting.
All right, we'll start with Venison this week. Venison, what have you learned this week?
Thank God my computer crashed through that. Well, I've learned that, you don't want to go camping anymore. It was fun as a kid, but as an adult, hell fucking no. And always find out what wildlife is near you. Foxes, coyotes, and bears, oh my. Fuck that.
Fuck that.
We also have mountain
I gave it
lions.
up. Oh,
yeah.
lovely.
Hey, I once in a while we get mountain lions in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
They want to be
They
friends.
love Yeah.
And we're
California.
we're just in the suburbia.
They want to be friends,
Yeah.
Brian. They want
Well,
you.
that's old Fine
right.
Danny in California.
Yeah.
Try Jersey.
You leave out food for them.
We also have wolves. we have a breed of wolves down in here.
So
Yeah, we don't have wolves. We don't have bears. We have cows.
We got big ass spiders too. What the fuck?
So-
This black spider.
so
It's
Bri-
gigantic.
Brian.
And wait. The funniest thing about it was I found one in the bathtub, dead, and there's a little bump on it. And I looked at it, and it was a common house spider that was eating it. This tiny little thing took out this big ass black spider. I have no idea.
Nice.
I was impressed. They are now employed.
So Brian, what have you learned this week?
So I learned that you've got some interest in BASIC, and I challenge you to post some of that code on Twitter. Now, of course, you can't put that much of it, but use hashtag GWBasic.
Okay, I think we'll do
And
that.
we'll start. So I downloaded GWBasic for this computer. So I'll install it, and then I'll write some code and see how that goes.
All right. Well, that'll be fun. We'll have to revisit that next week.
Hashtag GWBasic.
And Lulu has learned why not to show up for the first
not
hour
for
next week.
I mean,
Okay.
we get stuff going, so we have debugged code
Debugged.
ready for the show.
Yay. Lulu, what have you learned this week?
I've learned that venison had a old and disgusting war bandage from the Civil War that he was sleeping on, that fucking straw was coming out of,
The mattress.
that he presumably said was
Just a
40
little bit.
years old. Dear God, I hope it was burned in the front yard and the screams of soulless children were being released.
But enough about the redheads.
Hey, it was
Sorry.
from the early 60s.
So Lulu, you're definitely getting into the Brian mean space. You know, when I say something really mean about, like caging children, blah, 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 blah. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
And I have learned, I have learned that playing with sounds in GW Basic really pisses off my sound card so much that it will crash my computer hard fucking core. so we're gonna.
All right.
So
you think that was the cause?
I know that was the cause because I ran that sound, and then that's when the sound broke for TeamViewer. And then when I went to play computer sounds, that sound was broken, and when I fixed that, that's when the computer completely crashed. So we might want to. I think I might run BASIC on a separate machine next week if we're going to do that. But
right. Very
yeah.
good idea. So
Might do
that
that.
is actually interesting because what it suggests is, your DOS box,
yeah,
where it's it's like essentially a virtual machine,
right. It's the DOSBox
Where it's
app
separate,
itself that's running sound.
but it doesn't mean the peripheral devices are protected from the DOS
Well,
box window.
Well, keep in mind this sound card is made by the same manufacturer as the other sound card that was constantly crashing. And what it is different apps run at different different sampling rates. And when you start throwing different sampling rates at it, sometimes that confuses it and makes it just lock up. So maybe DOSBox was using a different sampling rate from than 44.1, and maybe it was using something like 32. I don't know. Anyways, but let's see.
GW Basic. I will have to look into that. because I want to so much make that AI program again. That thing was so funny. You know, I made it once and told a friend of mine, just type "fuck you" as the keyboard, and he did.
So,
and cursed him out. And it got so bad, he started arguing with the computer.
Lulu, you were starting to say something?
I want to be a bit nerdish, but my type of nerdish kind of revolves around audio.
Okay.
Because I've made I've understood now that I need something for OBS Studio when I'm playing games, so that way I can talk to the people in game and still talk to people outside of the game. And then also I have to have something that I can control the audio of the game and still be able to talk to people outside of the game.
Yeah.
And the OBS Studio does not give me those functions, so I need something outside to give me those functions.
Yeah, I think the kids these days are using like things like Discord, but then they're not sending the game sounds to Discord, and it's they're doing things that are primitive compared to what I do. But then again,
yeah, that's why I'm asking, because it's not working that way.
Well,
my shit's not working.
See, I do things with multiple sound cards and mixing boards of Voxens, which I
know, but we can talk about this.
Yeah. Oh, we could talk.
Later date.
You know what? We'll talk about this offline. Yeah, we'll totally.
Or we can do a Friday show and talk about it. Or.
Oh my God! I love that idea. Let's. we'll have beer.
Yes, I'll have my drinks and my pot, and I'll make some food, and you can have your beer.
You can have your beans.
And we can talk about this.
I'll have my beer. You have your pot.
Yeah.
I'll have my bourbon, and we'll have. Yeah. All right. Tune in, everyone, for that. Be also sure to check out. We'll be back here next week, same time, same place, and also this weekend.
Read the chat.
What's going on? Something in the chat? Okay, chat. Boom. Mookie writing in, is this the right channel for Tech TV's call for help? I have a question about my Timex Sinclair TS1000.
Sweet.
Okay. Then the name of Friday's thing has to be called Tech TV's Call for Help.
Tech TV's Call for Help. And OX writing in, VB Cable's virtual sound audio card, so you can route stuff to it. I've played some with some of the virtual cable type software. Some of it's just like overly complicated, and some of it's, it's okay if you want to do stuff, but ultimately there's no way to virtually create multiple inputs and outputs if you need multiple inputs and outputs. Now, if you're doing everything internally, maybe, but at the end of the day, you need inputs and outputs. I'm able to do some of that from a laptop using those cheap iMic sound cards that Dune recommended. Anyways, we'll talk more Friday. We'll figure out what the needs are, what we can do. And thank you, everyone, for listening, and good night.
Wait. One last thing.
Okay.
Because of that program that I wrote to my friend to argue with the computer, I put in some programming in there up to a certain point where if you have a curse argument with it for so much, it'll go there and say, all right, you're an asshole. I have no time for this. I'm leaving. Goodbye. And it shuts off the machine. and he got so mad, I had to stop him from punching out my monitor.
That's how you know it's good virtual AI. All right. Good night.
And fuck you and your drums.
Fuck you and your drums. Don't worry, Medicine, I get the drums too. Pelosi is a bag of trash.
Fuck
Oh.
Oh, not
You
cool.
still hate her?